So alpaca is one of the fibres that's in the August edition of the Hilltop Cloud Non-Wool Club. This is the Huacaya alpaca. I think I've said that right, rather than the Suri alpaca. It's slightly fluffier, slightly shorter staple length than Suri alpaca, but the staple length is still incredibly long. If I hold that up against my sleeve there, you can see roughly what staple length you're dealing with. That means when you come to spin it, if you're going to use a short forward draw, you need to remember about having your hands far enough apart with a relaxed enough grip for the fibres to slide past one another. Because alpaca has very little crimp compared to wool, it's always going to produce a yarn which is of higher lustre and lots of drape but very little memory. If you make a hat out of alpaca, the ribbing that you put round your head will just stretch out and your hat will fall down, because the alpaca yarns have very little by way of memory. If you tend to put too much twist into them, you also will end up with something that feels more like garden twine than an actual yarn. So you're looking, let's do a little ply back test, to have something that has a twist level that looks roughly like this and certainly no more. And even then, that's starting to feel more stringy. If you can get away with slightly less twist, it's worthwhile doing. Alpaca works quite well as singles if you fancy exploring that method. You can spin this fibre from the fold, but the problem with that is that because it's only general grade baby alpaca rather than the superfine extra sorted, what you can end up with is some of the slightly pricklier hairs that are in the fibre. You can end up with some of those feeling like you end up with a yarn that is quite prickly and can be quite scratchy. It makes the yarn fluffier and traps more air in it, but it will mean that it can be more of an issue if you struggle with itchiness. So experiment with both, see which works best for you. I prefer it worsted spun. Some people prefer spinning it from the fold and going for slightly more airy incorporated draft. It's a little bit slipperier than wool, but I don't think this is one that's going to cause many people too many problems.